Welcome back. Today's video is going to be about Honda factory service manuals, or I guess you could say service manuals in general. I already uploaded a video on this topic, but that was almost entirely for the sake of trying out a different camera setup. I was trying to use my Nikon D3200 just to see how it would work compared to my iPhone. Real quickly, this is my D3200. It just has the, I'm going to be honest, really junky kit lens on it, the 18-55, that one. And so the trouble with this is it creates extra steps for me. You know, I have to deal with transferring data from SD cards rather than transferring it from my phone. That on its own is about the same, but you know, then I have to deal with extra batteries, manually focusing everything because the autofocus on this is very loud, and then also having to manually adjust the zoom, which I actually kind of like that, but it's also loud, where this is nearly silent. You might hear through the microphone me tapping on the screen of my phone, but that's about it. So the other thing is that this thing surprisingly has lower quality video than my phone. Now keep in mind this camera was designed in probably about 2012. I bought it in 2014, early 2014, I think. And so this is older technology where my phone was created in 2018 or 2019, somewhere in that ballpark. So that just could be camera sensor technology, or it could be that this is just a budget level camera, but you would think it would be better with how big this lens is, like how much light this can capture versus what a phone can capture. You'd think it would be better, but it's really not. Anyway, enough rambling, let's talk about service manuals. Now I have shown this one off, at least the cover of it, in other videos, but I have elected not to open them up due to copyright problems. Not like I think I'm going to get copy striked for it or copy struck, but just out of respect for the work that Honda does, because these books are excellent. They are the best resources that you can get for maintenance on your bike. If you own any motorcycle or even car and you have the option to get the factory service manual, absolutely buy it. I don't care how much it costs, even if it's $200. This one I recently got from Procycle, and it cost about 60 or 70 bucks after shipping. My review on Procycle, they have not paid me to say anything or to show them off. This is my own experience. I think it showed on the website that this manual was in stock and was going to ship relatively soon. Then after I purchased it, I got an email that said it was out of stock and they had to get it in from a different warehouse and then ship it to me. Long story short, it took me about 3 or 4 weeks to get this manual, which, because it's the off season, I don't really care, but I wish it would have shown up a little bit more quickly than that. And then this one I got off eBay from some guy who said it was his personal copy. I'm not sure why these are made differently. It could just be that they changed how they made them from, back in the 2014 era to 2017 era. Or it could be that this is the consumer version of the factory service manual and this might be the shop version of the factory service manual. I don't really know. So looking inside these things, and I'll use the one for my CB500 here just as the first example. This book has every single thing you could possibly ever need to know about the bike. It tells you about every fastener, every wire, every piece of plumbing, and every structural component. Now, it's not an engineering blueprint. It doesn't tell you, the specs of every component of the bike. Well, I believe, yeah, like in this area, it tells you weights, gear ratios, rake, angle, like all the stuff you'd find on a website, but a little bit more in depth. It's all here. And then it tells you just, if a torque spec is not stated explicitly, as long as you know the thread pitch and, you know, the length of the bolt or whatever it is, you know, you can find, maybe that's, maybe it isn't the right page for what I'm talking about there, but you get the idea. And, you know, it shows you the location of everything. It even tells you how to wrap wire. Like, for example here, it tells you which orientation to put the hose clamps in. I've never seen any service bulletin on any vehicle tell me what way to put the hose clamps. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm sure other books have said it, but I have not seen it outside of this book. That is fantastic level of detail. So another bookmark I have here is the service intervals for everything on the bike. Not that you should, I personally think some of these are a little bit long, but Honda says they're okay, so, you know, if you can take them at their word for that. Another one is chain maintenance, since that's probably the most common maintenance item, or the most frequent maintenance item on any motorcycle is the chain lubrication and chain tension. This is something you should be doing every few hundred miles. And it gives all the, you know, the procedures. Now, the downside to these books, depending on who you are, is that these are not a step-by-step tutorial. Nothing in here is a step-by-step tutorial. This is all strictly, you know, here's the step A, B, C, do these things. It doesn't tell you how to do it, it just tells you to do it. But this book also goes into the detail of, really, this is like a rebuild and overhaul manual. Sorry for tripping over my own words here. You know, it gives you a schematic for the oiling system. It's, you know, this is just fantastic levels of detail. Another example here is it has a multi-fold wiring diagram for the entire bike. This is the entire schematic, and it does it for the, you know, this one covers the CBR 500R, the CB 500F, and the CB 500X. This one I think was $50. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. This one is in, you know, eBay for $50. Best $50 I've ever spent. Now for my CRF 250L, you know, I haven't gotten as much familiarity with this book because I just got this a couple days ago, but it goes over the same things in the same way. The CRF is, I think, a more simple bike. It doesn't have quite as much stuff going on. And this one, I believe, covers the rally version as well, but I could be, you know, I could be incorrect about that. But, you know, same thing. It gives you some troubleshooting procedures. This is the book that the people at the shop are using. Again, lubrication system schematic. Everything you could possibly need. It will tell you, if you look at this portion, it tells you where to oil things and when and where to replace parts with new parts. So, for example, if you're going to be servicing the cooling system, this seal needs to be greased and it needs to be new. You know, it's a fantastic resource, and for the price, man, you really just cannot beat these. The other options on the market are I believe it's the Climber manual is one of the other most common, and then there might be Haynes might do bikes. Again, I'm not positive on that. I haven't really looked into those books as much because I knew I wanted the factory service manual. If you are more comfortable and more knowledgeable on repair and maintenance procedures, this is the book you're going to look for. It wastes no time, it wastes no pages on how-tos or anything. It's, you know, gives you the spec, and you just have to know what to do from there. So this is more my cup of tea. But if you are less familiar with, you know, maintenance procedures, if this is your first bike, or if you're not familiar with working on bikes or cars, then I can completely understand why this bike might be, I apologize, why this book might be above what you're looking for. So I hope this was useful. I really think if you have any sort of vehicle, always buy the factory service manuals if they're available. They're worth every penny. And try and find them from off eBay used or from a smaller supplier like Procycle. Support some smaller suppliers instead of going to the big ones, because you got to share the love, share the money, spread it around a little bit more, and help out the people who might need it more than the larger suppliers, if you know who I'm talking about. So until next time, see ya.